Hello, hello, Facebook listeners and my Blake Media listeners. Um, Welcome to the On Point webinar. And I tell you what, this uh, everyone is online now, and it's taking a little longer to get started with the webinar. Has to go through all the cycles here, and getting online is just a little bit of a challenge each week here, but that's okay. We persevere, we keep going and keep trying, and eventually we get there, right? Like we are here. With today's lesson um, on point, we continue with my book entitled Joseph Building Financial Literacy. And today we're going to continue with what I read in regards to financial literacy. And today is going to be more about religion and money, which obviously is a hot subject, a hot topic. And for many of us out there, many people that are out there, that is a very touching subject, a very touching area. And I mean, it's real sensitive. Real sensitive out, and sometimes people can get confused, get tied up, and it can be a source of frustration for a lot of folks that are out there. So let me share my screen here with the presentation. There we are here. Share. And we're almost there. Should be coming up here shortly. And there we go. Let me put a little this little message out to Facebook for us so the others can join us. Yes. So it's fun to have others come out here and be with us. Always good for that. Always fun for that. Boom, let's go live. And here we go with our presentation. All right, so here's our text here. Joseph Building Financial Literacy. And we always like to start out with our actionable financial literacy decision model. And as a refresher here, by the time we're done with this, it's gonna be right here so everyone can get it. So this is the overall plan model that we have here. So you have the knowledge that comes in, and we want that knowledge to change our behaviors. Inside of the model, the skill sets that we have to continue to learn. You had ethical economic stewardship, have the money basics, investing, borrowing, and protection. And these are skills that we build over time. And we start out with stewardship. We have to make sure that the money we get is not necessarily ours, it's God, it's owned by God. God gives us that money. And we, in a sense, are stewards over what God gives us. And once we understand that it's not ours, what God gives us, we're stewards over that. And then we in turn know that we have to make sure to do what's right with what God gives us. So then we have money basics. And these are in these skills, we look at those skills, we look at these things on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, some annual basis. And we look at these skills continuously. And then as those skills, we look at them continuously, we end up changing our behaviors in what we're doing. And we look at these to correct and detect errors in our thinking, our behaviors. Now, when we're looking at those skills, we have behaviors that we look for. Now, this behavior model actually comes within the decision model. So the behaviors that we look at, we're looking at the economic behaviors. Our behaviors having an influence on our economics that with choices that we're making. Are those financial, those economic behaviors having the right financial effect? Now the questions to 1 and 2 are they monetarily flawed? Okay, and then we're looking at the first 3 questions. If it's economic behaviors, financial, monetarily flawed, are they unrealistic? Now we're trying to become a millionaire overnight. And then recreation. Can what you are doing financially in your life, can that be recreated in yourself or a larger audience as well? So you're using that shopping cart and each skill that you're learning. And again, you're looking to correct and detect errors in your thinking and your behavior to change your actual financial behaviors. And that model, that the whole decision model, you're recreating and you're looking at, again, within yourself, with other individuals, and a larger society as a whole. Now, in all that, as we're looking through the book, there's 5 major lessons that you learn through the book, what went down, and now I'm expanding upon what went down, and I'm expanding upon what I read, and next we're going to talk about the method to the discovery, then what I found, and what do we do next. So as we continue with what I read about it, and we probably have maybe one more lesson about what I read. So one of the things I read is about organizations and the need for what's called appreciative learning cultures. And this is where you introduce financial education and initiatives, social responsibility, and how we can ensure our constituents have a monetary understanding of what's going on. So you have appreciative learning cultures. So these are cultures within the organization or within the environment that you're in, where there's a learning culture, a culture of learning and understanding. And so when I say a culture of learning, it's not necessarily, everybody sit down at the kitchen table and that's one method of being able to learn. But you have an environment where that meanings of understanding and learning is always there. It's not necessarily filling in a blank in a form, or if it's coloring in the right circles in a form. It's something that you inherently are doing that creates a learning environment. You're creating something where that maybe it's interacting in the social life that they do, the kids do, the teenagers do, that kind of have them have an understanding of monetary thing. Could be playing the game. Could be something they're playing the game. Could be something that they're engaging in life. But it's not necessarily. It's teaching and educating, but not in a class, not necessarily in the classroom. But it's something that you're doing for fun. And then the other thing about appreciative learning. This is from a text that I read. It's from Barrett and Peterson, but this is an updated version of it. So they talked about appreciative learning cultures where there's learning and then there's unlearning. So then you're learning new things, but you're unlearning the things that you learned before, but then there's learning in that. Where you say you're learning some new stuff, but I thought we were doing it that way. Well, the fact that you're doing it in an old way, because sometimes you get going down the road and you're learning something new, but then you look back and say, wow, we were doing it that way before. Why are we not doing it? Sometimes you don't want to let go of an old way of doing things because you were so used to doing it. You ever, and I'm quite sure we felt that way before, right? You're so used to doing something one way, and then all of a sudden it changes, and you're like, okay, well, I can't. Your brain kind of gets stuck because you're so used to doing it one way, but now it's a different way of doing it, and it's hard to change. I'll give you a great example of that right now. Schools are having a tough time going to the internet, going or learning online. They're having a tough time letting go, having to go learn things online, and not having the so-called personal touch to learning. Well, you have to go back and look at how, in essence, a school began, so to speak. And maybe 100 years ago, how were schools built? What were built around? They were built around. Now, this is no one else's philosophy but mine. Okay, go ahead and put that down right there. But schools were built back in the like in the 1800s around agrarian cultures. So the kids went to school in the fall. That was because of planting season and things like that. And then so they went to school in the fall when planting wasn't time to plant because it was freezing out there. And so after the fall came in the spring, they planted the crops and all that good stuff. And then by the time the spring, then about the summer and everything, it was doggone harvest time. And so they got the kids out of the school and everything during the harvest time, so they can put them bad boys out in the field to help bring all the harvest in. So the kids had to get out in the summertime so they can go to work. So that and that's when all the kids was out, so they can go help work on the farm. That's my own philosophy. But they let them out. So that's how families in the farming world kind of work that way. And then the factories, the same thing. That was like an industrial society, kept it going that way. And so we didn't have to go to school in the summer because they let the kids out to work on the farms. Industrial age kind of worked the same way. They worked 8 hours a day, and then they let them out in the summer. So people didn't, summertime didn't work that. I mean, summertime was used for harvest time, and the kids came out of school, so they work on the farms. That's the time the kids worked. That the young folk worked at the time. But the social part of it still was there too. They still needed to socialize with other kids and everything. But now with the new age of people going online, kids now, they are more online than any of us. I mean, kids now, 8-year-old kid has a cell phone. 5-year-old, it didn't seem to a 5-year-old. I know, but a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, they can have a cell phone. They're more in tune to it than some grown adults. As a matter of fact, some grandparents should go to it, hey, work this remote. But in all saying, the kids are more in tune with electronics than the grown adults are. And that appreciative learning that they get from being in that environment and learning those technology, that keeps them up to par with that. So, I didn't mean to go off a train with that, but that's appreciative learning in a home where they learn more about technology. Now, with that, the facts of both learning and unlearning learning and unlearning complement each other. So the attempt to highlight the difference exists in the process of unlearning compared to the process of learning helps. So I have this next video is from a university in Maryland, and the professor gives an excellent example of how learning and unlearning complements one another, and how it helps in the process of understanding learning. So here's the video. Oh.
I'm Dr. Sharon Jones Eversley with the Family Studies and Community Development Department here at Towson University. Today I'm going to give you an overview of a theoretical framework that we use when we engage our students to work with families and communities. It's called appreciative inquiry. Many of you may not have heard of it, but it is an excellent way of blending practice, theory, and experiential learning, particularly in working with communities. There are 4 different phases to the appreciative inquiry. The first is that you have to discover. Second, you have to dream. Third is design, and the fourth is deliver. With this perfect blend of moving and engaging community residents and mobilizing residents to a plan or to change a practice or policy, we're looking at the discovery phase, the first phase. They're given an opportunity to be reflective of their past, not just looking at the problems of their past, but also looking at the strengths. And then after that reflection, they go to the phase of dreaming. This sounds elementary, but they use their imagination of what could be, what should be in their community. Thirdly, they go to the phase of design. They're coming with it with a real strong historical perspective, with creativity of what should be, and they design a plan to work for them, to solve their challenges. And lastly, deliver. Deliver a process that's creative and that can actually be beneficial. Aristotle has a famous quote that says, "To educate the mind without educating the heart is no education at all." Appreciative inquiry gives our students the tools that they need to engage in real-time learning with real people, impacting real policy, real communities, and real practice.
Okay, so that was good. So I like that. Sometimes you have to, dream about what you want, dream uh, your desires, and dream and deliver. Part of what I was, as I was thinking about my book and thinking about how I wanted to present the information, um, my total desire was to get an understanding of what money was to people, and at the same time, the purpose of religion. And money is just an exchange. It's just a tool that we use to get those things that we need. And I know money is what a society says money is. So and I've shared this before, that money in the United States is the dollar. If you go to Mexico, it's the peso. If you go to Europe, it's the euro. If you go to Britain, it's the pound. If you go to Germany, what's Germany? I think it's no, franc. No, I think they still use the euro as well. If you go to Korea, no, if you go to Thailand, it's the baht. So each society has a definition of what money is, and their society tells you what money is. So that's defined by that society. So but it's used as an exchange for goods and services. And religion is so diverse in different countries, but its total purpose is for that man or that individual to become better themselves and was enlightened and be enlightened, or be in total awareness of who that individual is. Now, there are different varieties of different types of religions that are out there, and I'm a Christian. I believe I have my own beliefs about my religion, but I'm not saying what others believe about their religions is right or wrong. I know about mine. And so the thing is that sometimes people have that religion and that money, but just in every person that's good or bad, just like in money, people with good money, people that are good do good things with money, and people that are bad do bad things with money. And having that understanding is not to say that religion and money is a bad thing. It all depends on that individual, and that individual's thinking with it makes it a bad thing. It has nothing to do with religion as its own, or money of its own. It's the individual. That's the main, that's the common denominator. But if religion on its own is not bad, and money on its own is not bad, it's the individual. Honestly, that's what makes the biggest difference. So let's look at this. We spoke about this text before from Estelam, and this was 2000. Actually, it's 2008, 2009, and he talks here about the savings rate in the United States and how the savings rate in the United States became negative because of the growing debt crisis, which is still, families are still in debt, and the challenge of the well-being of the population, people not being able to save as much. And so, so the thing is, identify thoughts that we have guided by a value system that has an empirical connection that can point towards successful affiliation and what's based on what is right, what is appropriate, what is significant to people. So when you're looking at a value system that's has an empirical connection, that means something that's like been studied, something that's been looked at with a fine tooth and nail comb and has some numbers based into it. So when I looking through my study, what I wanted to do was have a study that was done that looked at it from the numbers, but not necessarily not only the numbers, but I wanted to do a study that was based from the emotions and feelings of the people, because sometimes it's the emotions and the feelings of people that makes the biggest difference. Not only just the numbers, because I know sometimes that based from the financial crisis, numbers can not necessarily tell the full picture. Sometimes the numbers can tell a half truth or half story. But people's feelings and emotions are real and they're raw, and they can tell you so many things. And you know, with all of the turmoil and the riots and all those things that have been going on recently, it tells you that people are not feeling good about what has happened. And so my study, I wanted to go sit down and talk to, the believers, and wanted to know, how they felt about their financial picture, how they felt about what they were doing or not doing in their finances. And I didn't want to, and for me, even though I'm Dr. Joe Blake, and I have, I've gone through college, the whole route and everything. And, yes, I have substance and abundance and things now, but growing up, I didn't have those things. I was on welfare. I lived in the rough parts of town, Baltimore, Maryland, 915 North Sticker Street. They call it that area now. When I grew up, it was Harlem Park Junior High School is right down the street. Elementary school and the junior high school is right down the street. I was talking to my Uncle James last week, and he was like, "Yeah, they call it Sandtown now." He said, "Yeah, you can go to Sandtown, and you can get beat up day or night equally in Sandtown." I was like, okay, but I've been in the rough parts of town, but I came out of that, so I know how tough it can be out there. But I was able to come out of all that. But the value system and the empirical connections that you get from having conversations with people makes things real. And so my study was sitting down and talking to people to get their real impact, real influence from what they had to say. And I know, and because of our culture, African American culture, about how religion and God is infused in our upbringing, infused in our lives, and how much the Lord makes a difference for us. And I had some of that when I was growing up as a kid, and then I went away. I was a prodigal child, just booking. And then when I came back to the Lord, and I was a man, and I got back into God, and I got crazy with it. Read the Bible 8 times, front to back, notes and all. And I wanted to learn more about it, and that's where my heart was. Doesn't matter, you know, I know money is a tool, but I wanted to learn and know what was needed for the body of Christ. And that was what my purpose of my writing this book and doing it. I know what money is. I know what money is for, and I know what God says in His Word about it, and that's the reason for the book. That's the reason why I'm sharing this information for others so they can get it and do what they do for it as well. So what you get from the book, you take the information, you use it for your benefit. That's just free information. Normally you get information like this, you got to go to college. All right, so my next slide here. All right, so this page here, this is a short class again. I shared this on the last presentation, but this is that full picture again I wanted to show you from 1972 to 2020. Yeah. That is time. You can't get more time. As time passes, you can't get more time. That is it. Time has passed. You can make more money, but time has passed. You can't get that back. You can make more money, you can make more money, but you can't make more time. You look at all the things that have happened since 1972. I was 6 years old, yeah. And the market just kept right on trucking. You may be clamoring and howling about what's happening today. The market's down. Oh my gosh, it's never going to go up again. I'm never going to take a part of what's happening. 1972 is way down at the bottom, and so the bottom line is the bottom line here is the years. The market was going. The bottom row is the years, and the top row is the volume of the Dow Jones. So it starts at 0 and then it's 5,000, 10,000, 15. Well, the Dow Jones is at, let me see, it's 27,000 now. And down at the bottom in 1972, it looks like it's like maybe like 1,000 or so. So it was in the 1,000 in 1972, and now it's at 27,000 in 2020. That's years in time. And then I can't remember the scripture, but it says, the Lord says, as long as the earth remains, there will be seed time and harvest. So you plant your seed, you give it some time, and then you reap the harvest. So this is a system that's in place now. Not to say the system is going to stay here forever, but you want to do your best to take advantage of the system while it's here for your benefit. Selah. Okay. All right. As we wrap up again here, this is the actual financial literacy decision model. We got the actual knowledge. We got the financial behaviors. We have the the skills here in the middle, ethical economic stewardship. You had the money basic, investing, borrowing, protecting. These are skills that you learn over time. So the stewardship is the beginning part. That's understanding that God owns the money. He gives it to us. We have to be the stewards of what God gives us. We make sure we do the right thing with it. These skills that we look at, initially we may have to look at over a monthly basis, could be quarterly basis, an annual basis, then the annual basis. And these are skills where we're looking for we're looking to correct or detect our errors in our thinking in those different skill sets. And as we looking to change those errors, we change our behaviors. And along with that, we have our actionable behaviors that we use within our skill sets. So we're looking at the economic actions that we're putting in place. We're looking at our financial behaviors. And if those economic actions are creating the right financial outcomes, if those outcomes are monetarily flawed, so you're looking if there are answers to economic behaviors or financial influences, if anything is monetarily flawed. And then we're looking then at if there's anything unrealistic to those first three answers, if you're planning on trying to be a millionaire overnight. And then recreating, if what you're doing, can you recreate it in yourself or within others or on a larger scale for your community? All right. So again, this has been Dr. Joe Blake with Joseph Building Financial Literacy. And this Dr. Blake with Blake Media will be helping you get your point across. If you want to purchase my book, you can get it at blakemediallc.com. You can get an autographed copy there. And I'll send it out to you, put your information there. You can also get it at amazon.com. Amazon.com, you can put in Dr. Joseph Blake Jr. and pull the book up, or you can just type in Joseph Building Financial Literacy. When you go to Amazon, you can get a paperback, digital version, or you can get the hard copy from there. If you go to my website, you can get the paperback. You get a paperback version, and I'll sign the paperback and send that to you as well. Any additional questions? Again, you can go to blakemediallc.com and get a copy and send any questions in and answer, send your questions to me and I'll answer those as well. So outside of that, I hope everyone have a great weekend. Until next week, again, have a great day.